Hey, how's it going? Still buzzing from the Yokohama FC win?
Hey Jürgen, yeah, that 3-0 victory was solid, but then we had that frustrating goalless draw for Kashima Antlers and a tough 1-0 draw against Gamba Osaka. It's been a mix of highs and lows.
True, the Yokohama FC performance showed what we're capable of. But those draws, they've left us wanting more, haven't they?
Definitely, we need to sharpen up, especially with Yokohama F Marinos and the derby against Urawa Red Diamonds coming up. Huge games.
Couldn't agree more. Time to focus and get the momentum rolling again.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 16 of Red Bull KloppBot here on Sean Does the FM with Omiya Ardija. I hope you're doing well, and coming up today we've got two big games in the J1. First up, going to take on Yokohama F Marinos for the first time and off the back of a bit of a revenge game in the League Cup against Kashiwa Reysol. Then it's the local derby for the first time here with the Red Squirrels. We take on the Urawa Red Diamonds. So if you're looking forward to those two games coming up in today's episode, then do make sure to go down below, leave a thumbs up, all that good stuff. But yesterday we took on both Consadole Sapporo as well as Albirex Niigata in the J1. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. We did drop points to Consadole and then actually lost the game I played off camera before coming right against Albirex Niigata with a 4-0 win. Since then, our form's been a little bit average, as you would have seen through the intro. First up, took on bottom of the league, Yokohama FC. This result went about as you'd expect, a 3-0 win. Yokoyama with 2 goals and also a known goal there to Kaito Suzuki. So that was a pretty routine win, although did pick up a couple of injuries from that game. We'll deal with that shortly because there are a lot of tired boys here currently at the Red Squirrels. Are going to need to rest them in that League Cup game we're going to play in between these two. We show you in today's episode, but off the back of that, I think that tiredness, it caught up with us because first up, a 0-0 draw against the Kashima Antlers. To be fair, we hit the post a couple of times in this game where we probably should have scored. There are the stats, our XG a lot higher than Kashima, but unfortunately, I think that's our first scoreless draw of this entire save. To drop points there at home to Kashima, and off the back of that, it was a 1-1 draw against Gamba Osaka. We gave away a penalty there late in the first half. Thankfully, just before halftime, Evan Dimas, he grabbed one back for us. But again, a game that we slightly dominated, albeit not as much as that Kashima Antlers one, but we dropped points yet again. So a couple of drop points off the back of yesterday's episode in 2 games. Also more injuries from that game, so you can see. I think the tiredness is starting to affect our players here in that most recent stretch that we have had. So definitely need that break coming up in the J-League Cup. But J1, we've actually dropped down to second, 1 point now behind Koda Sanga, thankfully, still 3 points clear of Albirex Niigata as well as Kawasaki Frontale. And these days, Consadole Sapporo, they've snuck their way into a top 5 position. So hopefully can get back on track in today's episode, especially considering we take on some teams a bit further down the table. First up, Yokohama F Marinos, traditionally one of the stronger clubs in Japan, of course, the former home of big old Ange Postecoglou. This is how they look like in this universe. They're supposed to be the third best team in the league, but all the way down in 9th. Their recent form a little bit mixed. They've got wins over JF United, Chiba, and Vissel Kobe, but in between then, they've lost a couple and drawn with a Vispa Fukuoka. So their form this season a little bit more mixed than you might expect. Their captain is Takuma Nishimura, who is a left winger come central attacking midfielder come striker. Does look like he's a bit more natural as a striker, does look like a decent player there with 3.5-star current ability and potential, and 3 goals and 5 caps for the Japanese team currently wanted. Let's wait till that pops up by Consadole Sapporo. That would be an interesting move there if their captain did go there. The vice captain is a Brazilian, and Eduardo left back come centre back, who does look pretty darn good, again with 3.5-star current ability and potential, albeit currently is a bit unhappy, wants to go back to Brazil, and their key player is another Brazilian in Jan Mateus, another central attacking midfielder who can play all across that area and behind the striker. And to be fair, he does look pretty darn good with that 5-star current ability and potential, albeit the attributes, nothing too special there, nothing in the yellows. Hopefully we can find a way to get past Yokohama F Marinos here in our first game of today's episode. As I said though, we've got some pretty tired boys. The medical centre coming back from injury recently. No one currently injured, which is quite nice. But recently, we've been dealing with the likes of Kabayama, Yamada, Figueiredo, and Ancelotti as well as Yokotomo. So you can see there, we're pretty light in terms of right wingers with some players there who usually play in that position, not quite on a full green hat. Left wing as well, another position. We've had a couple of injuries, as well as losing our first choice right back for a little while there in Figueiredo. Thankfully, he's back, but a lot of players currently who are quite injury prone. So I'm going to have to rotate for this first game today. Hopefully, when we come back for the second off the back of the League Cup, our first choice 11, they'll be nicely refreshed, considering in between those two games, there is about a week and a half gap. So I'm hopeful for the derby. We'll have a quite strong team for that one, but before then, we need to try and find a way to get past the Yokohama F Marinos. And also, off the back of yesterday's episode, Osawa came to us not happy with his game time, so he's been transfer listed. A bit risky this one, considering he's one of our homegrown players, but to be fair, we can afford to sell one of them. So he's currently transfer listed. To be fair, he'll have to wait until the window does open. Hopefully by that stage, we might find a way to keep him around, because he is quite handy. A homegrown striker, third choice, just a nice easy option if we do have some injury issues in that position. But I think that's all we need to catch you guys up on off the back of yesterday's episode. Hopefully can try and go back on top of the J1 by picking up a win over Yokohama F Marinos. So here are the team sheets of the first game in today's episode. Lots of changes, as you saw before, with injuries and also players on a heavy workload. So Tanabe at right back, we've got Nuki at left centre back, as well as Suzuki at left back. Also in there, we've got Ohashi in defensive midfield. We've got Kabayama at left wing, and also with Chuck Yokoyama up front, considering that Konoshita of late, his form hasn't been too great. Hopefully, we'll still find a way to pick up a win over Yokohama F Marinos. And it doesn't take long here for the first highlight of this game, just 3 minutes in, and we try and make our way out from back. Unfortunately, we lose touch there from Lee Hyun-ju. So here, Yokohama, they can get on the attack. Anderson Lopez there tried to make his way forward. Good foot in there, I thought, from Matsumoto. Unfortunately, they get that ball back, and Horogomi plays it forward there to the striker, who puts it away in the Shimura, and that makes it 1-0. And again, we concede early, which is becoming a little bit of a theme here with the Red Squirrels, but nice ball there for Nishimura. I did think there Matsumoto did break it up, but unfortunately not quite enough. The ball goes out left, and they take advantage of it, and we go 1-0 down early yet again. And bang on the 20-minute mark, we get a highlight here in our favour, a free kick. We take that one sort of short near side, pulled back there for Tanabe, plays it in field to Dimas, who squares it for Yokoyama, who puts that one away. We've put him up front today because Kinoshita hasn't been too good in that most recent stretch, and thankfully we strike back with that free kick. Interestingly too, Vissel Kobe might be back in form there. They're currently beating Consadole Sapporo, but it's a well-worked free kick. Somehow Tanabe got into a ton of space there on this near side of the pitch, and we equalise about halfway through the first half. And not too long off the back of that equaliser, is starting to get on top here in this game. Yokohama there, we're on the attack, but good work that time from Nuki, who steps up and wins that ball back for us, our fourth choice centre back, but all our others are tired. Quite a handy player, being homegrown. Nice work there from Dimas, actually, to find the gap, as it looked like there he was about to get sandwiched. It's a lovely ball, though, from Kabayama, and Yokoyama chips the goalkeeper in Diego. I think he's onside too. That's a beautiful goal. If it stands, and it does, that's a really nice one. Kabayama starts to make his way on field. It's a very speculative ball, but it's perfectly timed for Yokoyama. Gets to it just before Diego and puts that one over the goalkeeper. That's a really nice goal, that one. Some good work there from our left winger and our striker. And Yokoyama gets himself on a hat-trick just shy of the half-hour mark to give us a 2-1 lead.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, just before half-time, we're going to suffer another injury here with Omiya Ardija. So it's definitely becoming an issue here currently with the Red Squirrels, but Yamada's going to be forced from the field, so it does mean that Yukotomo will come on for him. Not quite on a full green heart, only recently, having come back from an injury himself. And it's not quite half-time yet, because now there's a highlight in favour of Yokohama, albeit are going to try and make their way out from deep inside their own half. But to be fair, they do it pretty nicely so far. Just keep the ball there through Anderson Lopez. Now Ibar makes his way down that right-hand side, thankfully lose touch. Suzuki can clear that, but unfortunately, Yukotomo there, fresh on the field, doesn't quite think he can win the race to that ball, but good work there from Lee Hyun-ju. It might be a chance for us here to do something on the counter-attack. Yukotomo pulls that one back nicely for Lee Hyun-ju, so makes up for his laziness earlier and helps find the man who helped turn that ball over and set up this goal. Lee Hyun-ju, he gets on the score sheet, and that is a great ending to this first half. Thankfully conceding first doesn't look like it's going to cost us too much, in this game because 3 goals off the back of that. Yokohama with a quick fire double and a really nice counter-attacking goal that scored through Lee Hyun-ju does mean we go into the sheds with a 3-1 lead. So that is definitely looking a lot better than it did about 5 minutes in. That was the only shot Yokohama have had during the course of this game. We'll take off Kabayama on that yellow card. Really good work to set up that second goal to Yokohama, but we'll take him off there for Unholody. Play things safe, but very happy with how he finished off that first half. 3-1 in front of Yokohama F Marinos. And a very early highlight here in the second half, it's a free kick, which we do take short. Lee Hyun-ju and Dimas, they link up and do so again. Dimas now goes all the way back there to Nuki at the back, who to be fair so far, doing a lot better than he usually does. Dimas over the top there for Lee Hyun-ju, squares it for Yokohama. I do think that time though, he might have been offside, not too sure if that will complete his hat-trick. Did look a little bit too good to be true, and the fans all sit down because indeed he was offside. So unfortunately, haven't quite put the nail in the coffin here of Yokohama F Marinos just yet. But you can see there is a good straight offside, still 3-1. And a couple minutes shy of the hour mark, going to make our third sub here of this game because now Suzuki's picked up a yellow card. No need to risk it with a 2-goal lead. So Abdul Rahman, he'll come off the bench today. The Malaysian international, as we still hold that 3-1 lead. And pretty sure if they get that sub, there is now a free kick here to the Yokohama F Marinos. Hopefully all these subs, they won't disrupt things like they did at the end of last week against Kashiwa Reysol. Definitely a team I've got in mind now because I'm about to play them in the League Cup off camera. And with a pretty heavy rotation as well, just to make sure all these guys are fit for the derby. But nice play there from Yokohama, but thankfully Suzuki pulls that one wide. A good chance there for them to make it 3-2, but thankfully they blow it a few minutes later. We're down the other end for a corner of our own. Lee Hyun-ju there in the unholy a tackle. It falls to Dimas though, who puts that in the bottom left corner. Even Dimas popping up with some really useful goals from outside the box this season. There's another, and that should put this game to bed at 4-1. Here you can see Unholody was on the ball. It gets taken off from Dimas. A couple of touches to set up and puts that one nicely into the bottom left corner. And hopefully that secures all 3 points with a 4-1 lead. And only a couple of minutes off back of that goal to make it 4-1. Now Dimas has gone down to a red heart, so Shimoda can come on for him. And also we might make a sub here, take off Lee Hyun-ju, give him a rest while we're in quite a strong position. Osawa can come off bench. Yokohama, he can drop back to central attacking midfield with that 3-goal lead. Off the back of that, there is a free kick to Yokohama that's high and wide, still 4-1 in front. And we just snuck away into the last 15 minutes of this game, looking pretty safe currently with that 4-1 lead, but we are back on the ball here trying to make our way back into the opposition half. Doesn't take us too long. Unholody, he'll cut inside, plays a ball over the top there for Yokotomo, squares it for Yokohama, who completes, I think that's a hat-trick off the back of his good work in the first half. Indeed it is, and that is a really good performance there from our striker. That makes it 5-1. Unholody cutting in field. It's a nice ball over the top there for Yokotomo. One touch and finds our striker. It's a really good finish too, just inside of that top left corner. 5-1 to the Red Squirrels. And just made our way here into 3 minutes of added time. It's been complete domination off by that opening goal, which Yokohama F Marinos did score. Since then, we've got acting to gear and have absolutely blown them away here with a 5-1 lead. A late highlight to the action. It might not be over yet. We try and make some headway there down our left-hand side, but eventually switch it out to the right. Tanabe starts to make his way forward, plays it there to Yokotomo. Now Yokohama looking for 4, but squares it for Osawa, who gets on the score sheet, and that makes it 6-1. A complete thrashing here of one of the high reputation teams in Japan, and it's made all the better by the fact that Albrecht Nagata are getting beaten 3-1 by Kashiwa Reysol, so they definitely should see us at least stay second here on the J1 table off the back of this result. Hopefully might find a way to jump above Koda Sanga, but it does depend on how they get on in that game, considering they're currently above us. But that is a very good performance. We get back into winning form. Maybe should have been playing some of these players not on heavy workloads a little bit earlier, but that is a really strong win. Yokohama with a hat-trick, also goals there to Lee Hyun-ju as well as Dimas, and of course Osawa off of the bench. So a really good team performance there, even though again we did concede the first goal. But it's a thrashing there, 6-1 of the Yokohama F Marinos. Hopefully that gives us some confidence going to that derby, albeit that's still a week and a half away. And between now and then we take on Kashiwa Reysol, but some drop points there from Koda Sanga. A draw with Cerezo Osaka does mean that result sees us go back on top of the J1. So a good result for us there first up in today's episode, and since then we did take on Kashiwa Reysol in the first leg of our League Cup round of 16 clash. Early penalty which Tanabe put away, as I said, in this game to put out a full rotation, but first half didn't look like it would hurt us. Shimoda rifles that one bottom right corner 2-0 up here at the 33-minute mark, and we made it 3-0. Only a few minutes later, Riku Okai with a really good individual goal. To be fair, Sasaki in goal probably should be doing better. Then, though, got some horrible flashbacks because Cruz here cuts inside, curves that one nicely into the bottom right corner early in the second half. And then, only a few minutes later, a ball over the top, Cruz again gets on the end of this one and puts it away. They make it 3-2. And as I said, I'm having some pretty bad flashbacks, but then we bought some big players off the bench, considering had a week off the back of this till our next game in the J1. Thankfully, Unholody, he popped up with a goal. Then Saito puts that one away in the top left corner, and we're going to take a quite nice 5-2 lead into that second leg away from home. So really should be making our way through to the quarterfinals of that J-League Cup yet again. Quite crucially, they did miss a penalty in the 95th minute. Good save there from Tagawa, but that is a very good result. Get a bit of revenge there over Kashiwa Reysol for that bottle job at the end of last week, albeit, as I said, got a bit concerned when it was 3-2 quite early in the second half. So keep our winning form going there in the J-League Cup, and crucially, a week off the back of that does mean we've got most of our big guns back for this derby against the Urawa Red Diamonds. Going over the medical centre though, couple more injuries. Fuki Yamada, he's out for a while, having picked up that injury in the first game of today's episode of groin strain. He's out for about 4 weeks. He won't be featuring in this first derby of the save. And also, Tomohiro Osawa, a twisted knee. He's out for a day, but to be fair, we've got Kinoshita, we've got Yokoyama. We should be okay without the homegrown lad for this one. But we are about to take on the Urawa Red Diamonds for the first time in the save. And to be fair, after they started the season off quite nicely, they've been pretty bad in terms of the form table currently. They're bottom of it, and they're just outside of the relegation zone. Their recent form is pretty terrible, so hopefully we can pick up a win, albeit they have just hired a new manager the day of this game, which does me a little bit worried that they might be about to get some new manager bounce. You can see him there. He's been in charge of Makita Zalvia, which I'm not too sure is a good thing considering how strong of favourites they were to come up from J2 last season when we did, but certainly interesting appointment there for our rivals here in the city of Saitama in the Red Diamonds. They are definitely the more higher reputation club, but based on the table, this is a game we should definitely be winning. Their key player is Kai Shibado, a centre-back come defensive midfielder who looks pretty handy there with that 4.5-star ability and potential. Who's trying to sign him? That would be Yokohama. They might need him off the back of that thrashing that we did just hand them. Their vice-captain, Tomowaki Okubo, is a right-winger come left-winger. Another quite handy player there with 4-star current ability and a bit more potential. But the actual key player is Shuto Machino, who is a left-winger come striker. It's a brilliant name. 5 caps for the national team and 3 goals. Definitely someone we need to keep a big eye out on. So in theory, they should be the better team. But for some reason, they're going awfully. Let's see if that new manager bounce does hit us here at the wrong time for this derby game. But hopefully we can pick up a win and try and extend our gap on top of the table, having just got back there with a win in our first derby of the save. And here are the team sheets for our first derby of the save. First up, the Urawa Red Diamonds. They're going for 4-4-2, recent form terrible, but their first game with a new manager, maybe it's going to get them back into form. In terms of us, a couple of changes. Suzuki at left back, and as well as that, we've got Yokotomo right wing, but otherwise, it's our first choice 11. Also, gone with Yokoyama up front. He was quite good for us in that previous game. Hopefully that will continue here, but we've got lots of first teamers available for this one, unlike what we had the last game that we played against the Yokohama F Marinos. We're in the white and the Urawa Red Diamonds in the red and the black, and we get a highlight here straight from the kickoff. They keep the ball and hold it here in amongst their defence. Let's hope we can front up for this derby like we did in that previous game. Good foot in there from Matsumoto, so we get that ball back. Now Damas plays it forward to Unholody, makes his way forward here down the left-hand side. What can he do? Squares that nicely for Yokoyama. Big chance, but somehow that's gone out for a throw, and that looked like a big chance earlier there for our striker to open the scoring. Unfortunately, still 0-0. And going forward 10 minutes from the opening highlight and a throw in here inside the final third for the Urawa Red Diamonds. A long throw. They work a good routine, but again, that's a pretty similar chance to the one we had down the other end. But Higashi comes up with a good save, quite concerningly too. Matsumoto has picked up a yellow card, but from the corner, they take it short, pull it back there for a Kubo. And again, we can see first in the game is going to come back to bite us at some stage. We're looking a little bit like Inter Miami. We just don't front up early in games, and it could start to prove costly at some point, but it's a good corner routine there. Some nice passing, and a Kubo there somehow gets left in a ton of space. Might have even taken a touch that shot off of Matsumoto, and we're 1-0 down early again. And we have to wait until just past the half-hour mark for the next highlight of this game, and so far Urawa have been on the front foot, which is a bit concerning so far, not fronting. In this game, a Kubo there does Suzuki, takes on a shot from a tight angle, but thankfully that one misses the target. You can see the stats there. Our one chance had a very high XG, but we're 1-0 behind. You can see stats-wise overall, the Urawa Red Diamonds are on the front foot. And to be fair, there's some players out here. We're going to have to sub at halftime. Both our wing-backs, they're struggling, as is Yokohama not doing the job in this one. And also, Matsumoto on a yellow card. So really, going to have to lay into the boys here a bit at halftime. So hopefully we don't suffer what would be a pretty bad defeat in the first derby of the save. Tanabe at right back, Abdul Rahman at left back, Urakami for Matsumoto, and of course Kinoshita, holy Shida. Let's see if he can do something off of the bench. But we'll tell the guys we want something else in the second half. It was a bit poor, that first one, not nearly as creative as we usually are, to be fair. Give me a bit of a flashback to when we took on FC Tokyo in between the games that we showed you in yesterday's episode, but a highlight again from the kickoff, but this time we hold the ball. Hopefully those words at halftime have lifted the boys a little bit, but thankfully it doesn't take us too long to make our way into the half. But then Yukutomo looked like he was doing quite well, but gives it away poorly. So Urawa can get on the attack, but good work there. Not too sure who that was from, to be fair, but we do win that ball back there in the midfield. Tanabe plays that one to Dimas. A nice ball over the top there for Kinoshita, who is running in behind and puts it away. Bottom right corner. He's just come on at halftime and puts it away. Holy Shida, and he equalises in the derby. So maybe this is the game where he does reclaim that number one striking spot, because his form of late hasn't been good, but it's a lovely ball that from Dimas, and Kinoshita, a perfect run onto it, beats Dahlberg all square early in the second half. And only a couple of minutes off back of that equaliser, there is a free kick here to Urawa, and Holiday rushes out, nearly wins that ball back for us, but unfortunately it does find a Kubo. Dimas wins it back, but a poor pass. Urawa get the ball back here inside the final third, a long range effort. It comes off the crossbar, nearly a costly giveaway there from Evan Dimas, but thankfully still 1-1. And we're just about to sneak our way into the last 20 minutes of this game, still locked up here at 1-1. It's been a pretty quiet game so far in terms of highlights, but Unholdy is playing well, but is down to Red Hearts. Kabiyama can come on for him. That's our only sub left, of course, after all the changes we made at half-time. 1-1 with 20 minutes left. And just making our way into the last 10 minutes of this game as Urawa do suffer an injury. And off the back of that, we have a corner here down the right end of the field, but unfortunately looking near far post for someone. Dahlberg does come out and claim that. So it looks like this one might finish a draw. They pump that one deep, a little bit screamy there at the back. Eventually we do get back though through to Nabe and win it back and play it forward to Lee Hyunju. That ball not quite in the money, but Yukutomo does get it back. A tackle on him. Thankfully Saito wins it back, plays it forward to Yukutomo, who gets brought down, and that's very close to being inside the box. Let's see if we're going to get a chance here from the spot to win our first derby of the save. We're waiting here for VAR. No penalty. It looked very close. Maybe David Coote's still there off the back of yesterday's episode. A free kick though. Lee Hyunju looking there for call far post. Unfortunately, can't quite find him now. Saito plays that one in there for Dimas. We hold the ball here inside the final third. Tanabe takes on the shot out right back and buries it bottom left corner. Didn't matter. It wasn't given as a penalty. We score from the free kick, albeit not quite how you might expect us to. Our right back with a drilled right foot finish to make it 2-1 with only 7 minutes left. So thankfully, the changes we made at half time might be very crucial in this game. We got the first goal through Kinoshita, and now Tanabe off the bench also pops up with a goal. We've just made our way for the last 5 minutes. It's time for us here to slow down that tempo, start time wasting, be more disciplined, and also tell our goalkeeper to slow it down when we do have the ball at the back. So hopefully not many more chances here for Urawa in this game. How long have we got left? in injury time. It's 5 minutes. Let's see if we get any more highlights. A corner to the home team. They take this one pretty much centre of the box somehow. A open header there at close range, but thankfully that one does go over the bar, and that was the chance they needed to get something from this derby. It's another come from behind win, which, as I said earlier, that's now becoming a little bit of a concern. We can see the first goal quite regularly here at Omiya Ardija, but thankfully we just find a way to fight back. Some big bench impact in that game. Kanashida and Tanabe with the goal. Stats-wise, actually the home team probably will feel like they could have won that game, but we just do enough there to pick up a win in the first derby here in Japan, and that should see us stay on top of the J1 off the back of a 2-1 win over the Urawa Red Diamonds. So a perfect episode, that one for us today. We pick up wins in the 2 J1 games as well as the J-League Cup, but more importantly, we get bragging rights there in the first derby up in the J1. There are the other results from this match day. Albrecht Nagata did pick up a win, but they're still 6 points behind us now on the table, and we extend the gap as well on Koda Sanga, who lost the day after we played that derby to Avispa Fukuoka. So now our 4-point gap on top of the table has been restored just over the halfway point of the season. Hopefully we can find a way to go from winning the J2 to winning the J1 in the second season of this save. We're still going in the League Cup as well. Really should now be safely through the quarterfinals as long as we don't bottle things with that 3-goal lead over Kashiwa Reysol. But that will do it for today's episode. 2 good wins in the J1, as I said, and also getting that result in the J-League Cup with our rotation as well. If you enjoyed that episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Now, off the back of this, we do start to get to the part of the season where the games do come a little bit less frequently, which hopefully means we should have a decent chance of staying on top of that table. You'll see what I mean shortly, because we've got a couple more games before we focus on Cup football next month. But you can see the gaps do get bigger once we hit June. Our next couple of games are against teams down near the bottom of the league. To be fair, one of them, Vissel Kobe, could be interesting considering they were one of the pre-season favourites. But currently, they're in a relegation spot. No idea what's going on with those guys this season. Avispa Fukuoka is quite a big game at the start of June. The problem being there's not too much interesting around that, considering that 3-goal lead we've got over Kashiwa Reysol, and also we should probably go through the 3rd round of the Emperor's Cup this year against Viking Kanazawa, the team we took on in the J2 in our first game here last season. So really, there might not be too much interesting unless we progress in those cups, or until we take on Koda Sanga all the way in August. Not too sure what we'll come back for in tomorrow's episode. Could be some Cup football, could be some J1, could be a mix of both. You can see we should now be having some bigger gaps between games, which hopefully means less tired players, more chance of us to put out our best 11 more frequently in the J1. But until tomorrow, for whatever we come back for with the table topping Red Squirrels, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.